Right on. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 78 of CONSERVATISH. My name is Peter Feliciano. You don't see the other person in this recording because she's a private person who needs to respect blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. You've been on the goddamn show before.
I have.
But I figured I would give everybody the opportunity to stare at my handsome face, my expressive face, even though it's hidden behind sunglasses. There's a new episode every Monday and Thursday. You can support this podcast at patreon.com/conservatish. Find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. And shower me with your love and attention.
And money.
And the guest today is the good girl for the third time.
That's right.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me, I guess. I'm down here at your neck of the woods.
You are. Right here.
Thank you for
in the backyard.
Thank you for giving me a lot on. It was a nothing sentence.
Am I?
It wasn't like I lobbed out a great topic. Hi, puppy. Hello, dear. What's this one's name?
That is Bella.
Okay. Hi, puppy. Hi. So, yeah, you've been on the show a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
What did you? I had no strong agenda, but I did. You were saying you actually threw out, even though you always make believe you never want to be on the show. You threw out that you wanted to talk about, I figured let's just jump into it. Fuck it.
Let's jump into it.
Yeah, that's usually how our episodes go. Unwanted pregnancy.
Oh, I've had one of those.
What was your experience with that? How old were you?
I was 15, and I was 3 months pregnant, and I had no idea. I ended up in the hospital with appendicitis, and they ran a bunch of tests. One, found out that I was pregnant, and two, they did an ultrasound to determine how old the baby was, and I was 3 months pregnant. And then they said, we need to take you into exploratory surgery right now. You have a massive infection, and probably your appendix, but we're not sure. And then they drugged me up and wheeled me back into the surgery prep room, whatever.
Right.
And then the surgeon and the anesthesiologist told me while they were in there, they were going to give me an abortion. Didn't even ask me if that's what I wanted. Didn't even... they just told me that's what they were going to do because I was having surgery, so there could be something wrong with the baby. And I mean, I was 15. You can look at me and be like, okay, this kid's a mess.
Right.
The last thing she
This
needs is a
gonna
baby.
So that didn't come from your parents at the time. That came from the doctors just assuming that that's what they were going to do.
Yeah, and actually the one thing that I give my mom credit for, because there are not a lot of kind things that I have to say about my mother, but I couldn't speak because they had doped me up. I literally couldn't even speak up for myself. I was just like, and I was trying to argue with them, and they weren't having it.
Do you remember it? Do you remember?
I remember it. I remember. And what my mom said was she just found out she's pregnant. I had just seen the ultrasound. She had a heart and fingers and toes and was a baby, and now they're saying we're going to give you an abortion, and I didn't even have a choice. And my mom said she just found out if the baby is still alive after the surgery, then she can make the decision. And they were like, well, she needs to make it fast because she's already 3 months pregnant, blah, blah, blah. And they were really concerned about, I think they were concerned something would have been wrong with the baby, and then I would have sued them or something. So
you feel like it was, I mean, maybe not good intentions, but you feel like it was from the intention of wanting to protect the liability of the hospital more than anything?
Yes. So, I didn't even know when I woke up from surgery, because it was emergency surgery in the middle of the night, and it was my appendix, and I was fine. But I didn't even know if I was still pregnant. I was like, am I, is there still a baby? I don't know. And then everybody had an opinion. My mom really wanted me to give the baby up for adoption. My dad actually met with an attorney to see if he could force me to have an abortion. baby's daddy was freaking out because the one thing his dad had said to him was, I don't care how much you think you love this girl, do not get her pregnant. And then I was pregnant. He did not want to disappoint his dad.
Quick question. Was there any legal right for your father to tell you to get an abortion?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. So I just said I want to have it. I want to have the baby. I don't, And
did you know that before you got pregnant or before you found out? Was it something that you were ready for, or something you thought you were ready for?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to have a kid. I was a mess. I was not. Yeah.
You were drinking, using at the time.
Yeah. Drinking, using. I mean, I was homeless. I mean,
right.
I could see why
not
people
ideal.
Not ideal. I could see why people were concerned about the idea of
really
me
at
having
that
a
point,
baby.
Is it your baby, or is it the states and your parents?
Oh, my parents were really concerned they're going to get stuck.
Their baby,
right?
Yeah.
They're going to get stuck with a kid, and my
Right.
dad was going through a midlife crisis. I mean, he was. I was 15, so my parents were really young, in their late 30s, and they were not excited about being grandparents in their late 30s. And there's a plane. Yeah. So and then baby's daddy's parents were they were Pentecostal. You don't have abortions if you're Pentecostal, but what they said, if you give the baby up for adoption, you have to give it to us. They wanted it.
I thought he was the one who initially said don't have
He
this.
was the one who initially said don't get her pregnant. But once I was already pregnant, they absolutely were really supportive of me having the baby, but they wanted her. So and I thought, I can't give her up for adoption and then know where she is and have her living in the same city as me, and that didn't. So yeah, it's crazy.
Do you feel like your perspective changed on it now versus back then? Like, would you have been able to give it up, do you feel?
No, I think seeing the ultrasound changed everything. If I had not have seen the ultrasound, it's possible that I could have not recognized it as a baby, but it was a baby. I wasn't like 3 weeks pregnant. I was 3 months pregnant. It was obvious.
Right.
So
now that's first term, and a lot of people in the abortion, like I've dunked, as people of the fans of the podcast know, I've dunked my head in a lot of this abortion stuff over the last year, and I first term seems to be the consensus, even with pro-choicers, that even with a lot of them anyway, the pro-choicers that feel like, okay, as long as it's within the first term, like that's around about. So, like as an example,
the baby's not viable,
right? And in the 6 month or. San Jose's weird. In the 6 week thing, like Alabama recently passed that 6 week. If you have up to 6 weeks. Number one, you were 3 months. You didn't even know that you were pregnant, and even though it did have a heartbeat and all that stuff, you didn't know you were pregnant. And number two, a lot of people feel like the first term is good. Where do you currently see yourself and your opinion on it?
I've been thinking a lot about the New York decision. Like, you can have an abortion in your third trimester, and I think that's absolute insanity.
Right.
That's a viable baby.
Right.
I mean, I can't even imagine conditions where that's okay. That's a no for me.
Right.
And I don't know about the late term abortions as far as, if the mother's life is in jeopardy. I don't know about that as much, right? I don't know. But like in general, no.
Well, in Virginia, they were even worse than that. They were the governor was saying, well, if it's outside the womb, but it's still, if it's outside the womb, but they were trying to abort it. If it comes out, the mother and the doctor can make that decision.
That's so disgusting. I can't even. So, and this is coming from somebody who I probably, if I had not if I hadn't gotten sick and needed surgery, who knows how long it would have been before I would have known that I was pregnant.
Right.
I mean, I might have been one of those girls having a baby in the garage going, I didn't even know I was pregnant. And you always go, how does that happen? But believe me, denial is real. And I was loaded, so I was sick a lot. I was out of my mind. I was not, I was not clear-headed. Mm-hmm. I was in a horrible living situation. I was, like...
The relationship was probably not stable.
No, there was no stability. I was insane. I mean, none of it was good. So I can see how, that happened. And I could even imagine if it's rape, how many more, or incest, or, how much more that puts into the mental, whatever. So what I do know is that I think abortion's awful. And the women I know that have done it have suffered because of it. And they would agree that it's awful. And nobody wants to do it. Now, I mean, I don't know anybody who's like, yeah, I'm just going to go walk down to the corner and get an abortion. It's awful. It feels awful. It, is awful. I don't know anybody who does it lightly or has done it lightly. But I never want to be the one to dictate who gets to have one and who doesn't and for what reasons and for, that's none of my business.
Right.
Right? Everybody has to deal with the consequences of their own decisions.
Right.
So that's pretty much where I stand with that.
Right.
I mean, to me, it makes sense at heartbeat to say, okay, no more abortions. I can understand a little bit more, okay, the baby's viable. Absolutely not, right? And I know people who've been born at 4 months, mm-hmm. and they're okay. They have some serious complications from that, but,
right.
but and if I think about the idea of my daughter not being born, like, she's a really good human being, and she's doing good things on this planet. She did not have an easy beginning. And I don't know, she's amazing. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine what my life would be like, or I can't imagine the world without her. I mean, right. She was supposed to be here.
Right. Can you feel kicking at 3 months? Like when you look back and when you were told...
No, I didn't.
Okay, you didn't feel like, oh, that's what that feeling
I'm trying
is.
to think when kicking starts. Is that 4 months where you start to... I don't know. Dude, it's been a long time. Thank God. Yeah. And I didn't want to... I mean, having a baby that early was incredibly painful. I did not want to have another one, so I figured out how to not have another one until I was ready. Mm-hmm. And...
yeah, you can tie the tubes and then untie the tubes and...
Well, I mean, I just got Norplant, which was like amazing.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
It's an implant in your arm. You don't even have to take a pill. It just pumps those hormones right into you. Fantastic.
Really? What does that do to the period?
Oh, I didn't have one. Ooh,
for years?
For 5 years. Oh.
So why would they do that, or why would they do an IUD instead of that then? Like, why would they put the little copper thing in the uterus? So
the IUDs usually they only give to women now who have already had kids, because you can have some pretty serious complications from IUDs. I currently have my tubes tied because I don't want any more kids, and it's the best. Sterilization is like the best way. But still, there's still a risk I could get pregnant.
Sure.
Ugh.
Right.
But I think
there's so much complication to it. Even pregnancies inside the fallopian tubes.
Yeah,
and
that's especially with sterilization. That's actually one of the big. I think it's like a 1% chance I can get pregnant, and in that 1% chance, there's a 30% chance it'll be a fallopian tube, pregnancy, which has to be aborted or else it'll kill you. I mean, so yeah, so women and their doctors make decisions about which hormones they're best on. Right. If you don't do well with an implant, then you have to go get it taken out.
Yeah, I was with a girl. She did not have a kid. Mm-hmm. We went to the doctor together, and I held her hand while she got it put in her. And it's a slightly painful, really painful for some girls. Mm-hmm. But The only complication she had, I think, is that, you know, I when we were fucking, I could feel the little strings.
Yeah.
Which sometimes would be like, ow? I'm not sure if this is ow. I think it's ow. But yeah, this is weird.
Well, Planned Parenthood put in my Norplan. It goes right in your arm.
Right.
And then you have to go back 5 years later and have it taken out. That was the bad part.
Could you get it taken out before?
Yes.
Okay.
You can. Yeah.
Okay. And then that first period, was it just like, was it just
No, I don't remember
raining?
it, so it must not have been.
Okay, that's good. How many periods in a woman's life do they remember? Oh man, remember the blizzard of it, 97? Like, you know.
I think you're just. I think it's genetic, if what type of periods you have. I think.
Interesting.
Right.
Okay.
Some women have some serious, heavy, like awful periods.
Right.
And some not so much. So.
Right. Couple of things. Number one, we're just talking about abortion, puppy. Number one, maybe I'll get to the other point, but as far as not getting, or it not being your business, I can understand that, but I kind of feel like it isn't. Now, this is a sticky situation, as all of the topics on my fucking show are, but I feel like if it's a living thing, which at a certain point, it's even if it's not viable, it's technically still a living thing. It's a weird example, but what if I really wanted to kill somebody really bad, and me and a doctor made the decision that I was allowed to pump this motherfucker full of a bullet, right? Technically, it still wouldn't be your business because you're not a part of this exchange between the doctor, I, and the guy who I'm shooting in the face. But even though it's not your business, that person is still a person. So I don't technically get to, like the government currently is in charge of stopping people from killing other people, right?
Right.
Like that's their only, it's bloated and all that shit, but that's their job, is to keep safety and keep everybody alive, and you're not allowed to kill nobody and don't steal and blah, blah, blah. But if it's a living thing, I feel like I do get a vote on that. Because if it's a living thing, which is what this whole thing is about, which is why the super, super, super left is wanting to say it's not a living thing, it's not a living thing, no, you can kill it, whatever. But if it is, then wouldn't it make sense for it to be everybody's business?
So it's interesting because I had a philosophy professor talk about how you need to make sure that your values are consistent. If you're pro-life, then you should also be anti-capital punishment, right?
Sure.
And then the same is true for, end of life, right? If someone is suffering in their end of life, do you let them, take a little extra morphine and end the process quicker, or do you make them suffer the entire time? I think it can't be. I don't want to be responsible for making those decisions for anybody else. Right. So it's interesting because I was listening to your last podcast, or the last one.
With the Prudent Patriot?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I knew that was going to be.
and okay, the gay thing aside, I was losing my mind. I was literally like,
I was trying really hard to have.
Fucking kidding?
Did I handle it well?
What?
Did I handle it well? I
you were
handled
beautiful.
It very well.
Beautiful.
As always.
I don't know how you did it. I would have been
Give me money, you fuck.
I would have been like, bigot, get out of my house. Anyways, but so
he's a nice guy, though. That's the thing. That's the thing.
No, he seems like a good, wholesome family man.
Humanize everybody. Yeah. Even if you disagree with the motherfucker, which I do, I still think that guy's a fucking great guy, and he has some other points that are really great. They welcomed me into their home. They were super kind and generous. Do you need anything to drink? Here's my little boy and girl running around. Like, they're good fucking people. You know what I mean? Just because we disagree fundamentally and very strongly on one thing doesn't mean.
Well, and I'm Christian, so a lot of people that I know are very, pro-choice. Absolutely. Even that word's stupid. They're anti-abortion, period, end of story.
You mean pro-life.
Yes. Yeah. They're also well, I know some people were on the same side with the gay stuff, and I still think they're good people. Right? They're lovely people.
Right.
But then they open their mouths on these subjects. And I'm like, you sound so ignorant. So anyways, my point is with this guy.
I love, by the way, this is a danger for Peter Feliciano when there's something this right behind my head. Because I always, I do my clapping, I do my seal laugh. And I just need, this is
And
too
there's
much.
a little bar right in the middle of your head. So what I heard was a lot of arrogance. Like, I know what's best for everybody.
On the last episode.
And it just felt like, there's nothing attractive about that kind of like, everybody needs to live like I think they should live.
Sure.
And because his wife knows how to figure out when her period's coming or when she's ovulating or whatever, everybody else should be able to figure that. I mean, that assumes everybody's in these wonderful circumstances, right?
Sure. Or everybody has the same period.
Or everybody has, right.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's not how the human body works. It's not how the human mind works. Just because you're straight and your wife knows how to track a period doesn't mean. And
right.
Yeah. So I don't know. That is worrisome for me.
Sure.
To have somebody so on a this moral high ground that says everybody should adhere to my standards.
Right. But as far as your philosopher saying everything needs to be consistent, right?
Yeah.
Now, what if everything was consistent with one person's belief that still doesn't necessarily address that part where you were saying, that thing I posited about it being a life? You know what I mean? And us all having a say on it.
Oh, good question. So I think that comes back to, like, ethically, there's just a gray area with a lot of stuff.
Sure.
And so, do I think at the end of life, if somebody's really suffering and we know they're dying and they're in so much incredible pain, do I think it's bad to help them die a little faster? I don't think that's bad.
Right. The difference is that's their decision.
Right.
The baby's not making a decision.
I
Can't
agree.
make a decision to kill themselves.
But the doctor is usually, it's physician-assisted suicide, right? The doctor's helping. And so that gray area comes in that they've taken an oath to say that they're going to save lives, not kill people, right? So I just think it's too complicated to say, okay, at 6 weeks, that's it, you're done, cut off.
Right.
Or I mean, even how do you decide, okay, is it, if it's okay for rape victims, like what kind of rape? Then who decides what's actually rape? And then what if the guy says that wasn't rape? And what if he's not convicted? And then, how do you, it doesn't work.
Right.
What I do feel strongly about is if a teenager goes to get an abortion, she should not have to notify her parents. I actually...
because you experienced that.
Because
you experienced having their opinion on it.
It's not just their opinion, but I grew up in a ton of violence. You do not put a girl who has had those experiences back in a home that's unsafe and say, no, make sure your parents sign. Oh, she might end up not needing an abortion. She'll get the crap beat out of her.
Right.
No.
Right.
So that one I feel strongly about. And it comes up, I get to lobby for it or against it. Because it comes up every few years, right? It's terrible. Right. No, that's a no.
I talked about it, but when I posted that thing about being on my controversial opinion Wednesdays, and I talked about how like, hey, this is this weird feeling that I'm having. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be pro-life, but I'm feeling myself to be pro-life. The only two women who and one of them was definitely a little more why am I the only woman talking about this, blah, blah, blah. But then you peel it apart a little bit and you have that conversation, because I'm pretty good with not just being a reactionary asshole online. Haven't always been that way, but I'm pretty good at it. Let me, delete, rephrase, delete, rephrase. Okay, this feels better. Let me sit with it for an hour. Okay, yeah, this feels better. I'll post that, clap back. But the two women who were like, no, I think this is wrong. I think it's not anyone's business. Number one, they did say that it's a life, and number two, they did both agree that just because I have a dick doesn't mean I shouldn't be allowed to have an opinion on this.
Right.
And those are my biggest points. Like I've said a million times, like I feel like first trimester is probably appropriate to say, like, no, now we get to all have an opinion. Like, it's not just your body. It's not about controlling a woman. It's about that's a thing. That thing inside of you is a fucking child. So don't kill the baby.
Right.
But before then, even if you need to, fine, kill the baby, but call it what it is. Don't tweak the language so far that you're making believe that this isn't a life. It is a life. Kill it, but call it a baby.
Right.
Like you said, you guys did the ultrasound, and that changed your entire perspective. And that's why a lot of and even though you disagree with him on a lot of things, and sure, I disagree with him on some things. One of the things a prudent patriot said is that's the reason why a lot of these abortion doctors kind of don't want to show you the ultrasound, is because once you see that, you're like, oh no, that is a baby.
Instinct takes over.
Instinct takes over. Now maybe I don't think that's as darkly intentioned as he thinks it is, where like they just want that money. Although I think there is some incentive to the abortion doctors. But I think it's well intentioned. Maybe we know that she's made this decision to do this, that we all agree this is probably the best thing for her, and if she sees the abortion or sees the ultrasound, she may change her mind. So let's protect her from that feeling. You know what I mean? Let's protect her from herself. Maybe it's good intentioned, but or well intentioned, but call it a baby, number one. And number two, I hate more than anything people telling me what I should and shouldn't say, people telling me what I should and shouldn't believe, people telling me I'm a big fucking stick in the mud when it comes to that shit. You know what I mean? You know that from being my friend and from listening to the podcast. I hate that more than anything. Don't tell me what I'm supposed to have an opinion about, or all men shut up right now. No. How about fucking no? I'm allowed to have an opinion about whatever the fuck I want. And number two, I do see it as a separate human being than you. So technically this is a bigger, nuanced issue than they're making it out to be. That it isn't just about controlling women. It's about this other life. That's all.
I agree. I don't think we have any, and I think most people actually agree with that. Well, I think most people are reasonable. I do. I think most people are reasonable. Most people, not everybody. Some people are pretty extreme.
Right.
Left and right, but I think most people are reasonable and will say, yeah, you have a heartbeat, you have fingers, toes, a brain, it's a baby. If it can live outside of you, it's a baby.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of question in that area. And I know men who have also suffered from women who have gotten abortions and it was their baby, I know a couple in particular who that was really, really difficult for them, that they didn't get a say, that they wanted that kid and didn't get a say.
A couple of men who wanted the kid and didn't get a say.
Wanted the kid, and then the woman had an abortion.
Right.
So,
now I'm not even saying that's it. Totally, that's a whole nother. Is like I'm saying on a legislative level, everyone should have kind of a say in it. You know what I mean?
You don't get to vote because you're a man.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I don't get to at least express an opinion.
Right.
And then what if I'm a part of something? Now, I don't think a man's opinion about killing the baby should, this is maybe a little inconsistent. I don't think a man's opinion like, oh, I don't want, this is so fucking high. This is the worst.
You could change to a different chair. Look, there are
After
multiple.
all I've fucking done for you.
Okay, martyr.
Understand? God damn it. Patreon.com/unconservative. I don't think it should. I don't think a dude's, even though he has a say, I don't think his saying no, kill that motherfucker, should override a woman's desire to keep it. Mm-hmm. That's also a little sticky because sometimes women, apparently, I've heard that some women can be manipulative from time to time.
No.
And can use a pregnancy as a means of punishing or keeping a guy or stringing a guy along or keeping a guy in their life. But so that gets a little sticky. But also, I don't know. This is just it's a fucking crazy issue. And I think we all need to talk about it. And the minute you say you're not allowed to have an opinion, you're a douchebag. I just think you're a douchebag of a person. Once you start really believing that and saying it online and having stars and celebrities say it online, and we all just, and then, by the way, 2 seconds later, not just saying men don't get to have an opinion, 2 seconds later, retweeting, hey, men allies, you guys need to speak up. It's like, wait a second. Talking about fucking consistency,
And I think we should go back to the whole doctors who perform abortions thing.
Yes.
So my experience is...
This is a very different episode, by the way.
It is.
Normally we're talking about cocksacking for 3 hours. We'll get to it.
We'll get there. Okay. I'm distracted now. I sucked a cock this morning. It was fabulous. But back to abortion doctors.
Yes. I love my podcast so much. Sorry, continue.
I don't see a profit motive in that.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time at Planned Parenthood. I was a kid. I did not have insurance. Planned Parenthood provided me with whatever I needed to not get pregnant, so I didn't have to have an abortion. So I had all of my general checkups. I had all of, whatever I needed for birth control. They would give me bags of condoms, like they knew or something. And
did they in that mix? Did they give you the big ones? Because
no, not a big one.
You gotta get please, condom providers out there. I don't know if the gay ones do it better, but you gotta provide the magnums as well. You can't just do a bunch of the.
No, I know. And my daughter's father would break them, break the regular one, just break them right there. I'm just, anyways, worthless. So. But would happen every time I would go to Planned Parenthood, and I would have to get a police escort in because they were having bomb threats, because they were having protests. So
this was the 1950s, right?
That's right.
So
this was the late
90s.
Yeah, this was the 90s. And they were, and it was bad. I mean, in
the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area. San Jose. The San Jose one was the worst. Sunnyvale, they didn't get as many bomb threats, but San Jose, the one right on the Alameda, man, it was constant, and it was really like, I just want to get my pills, So,
did they? So
I feel like actually those doctors are under threat,
right,
all the time.
Right.
I think they really believe in what they're doing, and want to help women. And I don't know what the percentage is of abortions versus like young women who they help not to get pregnant. Or older women. I just, now I have a job and insurance and go to Kaiser.
Right.
But
no bags of condoms at the Kaiser.
No.
Come on, Kaiser.
No one's giving me any bags of condoms. I have to buy them.
Boo.
I guess that's what happens when you have an income.
Right. That's $10, $15 fucking dollars for a fucking pack of like
so
two
expensive.
fucking condoms. So much easier. Just get an IUD. I just want to come in you. I don't want to pay $15 every couple of days to come in you. Just fucking, life is a vale of tears. You understand? Sorry, continue.
So that's it. That's my only point. I don't think they're out there like, I'm really going to make a lot of money providing abortions. Okay. I mean, give me a break.
There was...
if you want to earn money, you're going to go into a different field.
No. Doctors make a good amount of money. And there was a doctor...
Not in the abortion field. You're going to go into plastic surgery or I don't know what that. Dermatology I heard is a good field to get into if you're looking to make some bank.
There was you didn't see the movie Unplanned?
Not yet.
It's a good movie. It's definitely, like I've said, it's Lifetime movie-ish, kind of like after school type of special, whatever. But and it also can get a little Jesus-y, which again,
I love the Jesus-y.
I know you love the Jesus-y, but this is another thing too. I'm not getting pro-life because of anything to do with religion.
Right.
And over on social media and in the media right now, it's just like, if you're anti-abortion, then that means you're religious or you want to control women or both. I'm neither one of those things. I mean, I'm very good at manipulating and controlling women, but mostly only in the bedroom or in my relationships. But it's not about that for me. It's just about that baby thing should have a say, in whether it gets to live or not. You know what I mean? At a certain point, it's just like the doctor. Have you seen the video that I talked about on the Prudent Patriot? I haven't posted it
yet.
Oh, you're not on social media, but there's a. You're okay with me saying that, right?
That I'm not on social media. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how many people. Anyway, I don't know this person. I found her in a dumpster behind a Kmart. She just won't fucking leave me alone. So there's
look at you
video.
not smoking. I just want to say.
No, I'm smoking.
But not here.
No, not
this
here.
This whole podcast.
We're technically outside.
Right?
I quit on Monday. I went 29 hours or something like that. It was very impressive, but I had to change my mind. I know. I can't. All right, I'm switching the fucking chair. This is too much. You're watching this live on the podcast. I need to be able to clap back. I need to be able to throw my head backwards. I'm sorry. Oh, life. Oh, God. Okay. This is better. We're going to be all right. Oh, yeah. Okay. You've been watching it on YouTube recently?
I have been. Mm-hmm.
You like the video instead of the... you like to see the person that you disagree with.
I do. I want to know what they look like. It's funny, too, because I always have an assumption about what these guys are that you have on here. The political guys. No, the political guys.
Sure.
I always have an assumption about what they look like, and I'm like, yep, that's what I think they look
Jared?
like.
Jared's a beaner. You know what I mean?
Right, but he does not. I mean, come on. It's not like he looks like he just like...
He listens to La Vaca, La Misma Vaca.
But the last one...
What?
The Patriot, Prudent Patriot, that guy looks like he's straight out of the Aryan Nation, Brotherhood, whatever. Like,
listen, you don't get to choose. If you're from Sacramento, you don't get to choose how you look. That's how you look in Sacramento.
Give me a break.
Anyway, but there's a what the fuck were we talking about before? The video of the doctor talking about why he stopped performing abortions. A couple of things in that video. Number one, he did talk about if you get a certain type of abortion. He did say there was you do get money for performing abortions. I'm not saying you shouldn't get money, but there's a difference between a salary and commission,
like a bonus, right?
Yeah,
you gave 75,000 abortions, so you get
right. Let's just be specific. I've worked in sales for a lot of my life, and there's commissions and everything. But the other thing is that how detailed he talked about it, which was really disturbing. It was really disturbing.
He talked about abortions or
Correct.
About the money? Oh,
about performing the actual
the
abortion.
Vacuuming one.
The vacuuming, going in and clipping a baby's leg off. Like, the baby's still alive. It's not like, okay, we inject it with something to make it die, and then we snip off its leg and and crush the head. They crush the head while the baby's alive.
Right. Have you seen the women who they thought they vacuumed the baby out, and then the baby is born and it's like missing a leg and an arm because they just vacuumed pieces of it?
Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking? Can you find this on YouTube?
I'm sure I could find it.
Holy shit!
That's so disgusting. Like, whoa. Anyways, now it's a kid. And how would you like to tell your friends, oh yeah, I'm missing a leg because my mom tried to abort me and it didn't work? Like,
there are a lot. Yeah,
terrible.
I have seen interviews with women who survived abortions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, this is
I
a
know,
deep
there's
issue.
so
This
much
is not about
yuckiness to
controlling
it.
women. This is not about religion. This is deeper than that shit. Don't fucking tell me what I'm allowed to fucking
Well,
believe or what I'm allowed to fucking say.
Everybody's allowed to have an opinion, but you should not probably pick a man as a spokesperson, right? I mean, it's a...
If for effectiveness in the communication of that opinion, I agree. Yeah. For actual real life, no. Like for actual real life, everybody gets to say whatever the fuck they want. You know what I mean? I'm a full on libertarian when it comes to that shit. I may disagree wildly with. Did you listen to Kat?
I did.
Yeah. So half black, had a lot of people, both on the white side and the black side give her shit her entire fucking life, and yet we had a nice conversation about free speech and how I genuinely believe the KKK should be allowed to fucking march. They're douchebags, they're assholes, and if they get any physical, feel free to beat the fucking shit out of them. But before that point, peaceably assemble. You know what I mean? Feel free to have a fucking social media presence, because you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that, number one, that the evil wins. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of those guys have gotten stuck into that, possibly, when they were kids, they were indoctrinated with some bullshit, and they were taught hate or whatever. But I know a lot of motherfuckers, I mean, you know it from your experience too. Like, you're taught things when you're a kid, and you grow out of them a lot of the time. You know what I mean? You meet a gay kid, or there's a goddamn senator who, I can't remember, was it Strom Thurmond or someone who was a part of who was a former white supremacist and then changed. Like, you and I know people from prison who a guy with a big swastika tattoos, and he's best friends with a guy with a Crip, and he's his mentor is a Jew. You know what I mean? Like, this is you can grow out of that. And hiding it and putting it away and making believe no, this is forbidden does not make it. I don't know. Which is another, as far as the abortion thing, making it illegal does complicate the matters when it comes to people getting illegal abortions. When it comes to people getting backyard fucking unsafe abortions, right. I understand that too. I don't know,
because it's gonna happen.
It's going to happen.
And sometimes it needs to happen. I mean, sure. I get it. I'm not going to... Okay. I need to go pee.
Okay, we'll take a break.
Tea. Okay.
Hang on. Ooh. Ow. Did I do it right? Yeah, I did it right. All right. Oh, wait. This is yours. Aha. Here we go. Yeah. Spiritual shit. I'm after all that abortion stuff and me saying it's not about God, then I talk about spiritual shit. I don't know. It's interesting shit to me. So I don't know. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about dick sucking, or do you want to talk about? I don't know if we got in depth on this, but what do you get out of eating a guy's ass? I just and no piece of me could ever, like, my hat is way off to you. Like, I don't understand it whatsoever. What is it? So because I know you enjoy when you suck a dick. You enjoy the sensation at all, or is it all mental? Or are they super connected?
Oh, it's both.
Okay,
it's definitely both. Especially if it's a particularly brutal dick sucking, right?
Okay, explain.
It's not really like a good face fucking or a good like throat destruction. I don't know. Like, that's exciting. But
now that's okay.
But that's
now
a different beast.
Is it a pain thing? Is it, because I mean, I gotta tell you, after even smoking, I'm like, my singing, I'm like, my voice is just, it's a very sensitive instrument. My throat. I don't know how you could do that and then
I have
talk.
like fucked up my voice a couple times.
You have
I
fucked
have.
up. Yeah,
I have,
you need
and I have had
lozenges after
serious.
throat fucking.
I have had serious throat issues, pain after I have.
Take it ibuprofen.
Absolutely, whatever it takes, man. Well, I
ibuprofen.
will often take ibuprofen before we go to like the Citadel or somewhere where I know, because when he has an audience, is often far more brutal than one-on-one. So I know I'm gonna pay. It's gonna hurt.
God, that's such a after 30s thing too, because you're like, well, I need to make sure.
Yeah,
it's so
giving a little preemptive.
Right, I need to pack some wet wipes and I need to pack some. This is very. We're going hiking in our 30s, but you're going to the sex club. It's bothersome, but I like that. You're prepared. You're not on the streets anymore. No. That's what's interesting. So okay,
that's right.
So no.
So also the emotion part of it for me is the pleasing. I mean, there's just a ton of especially if he has an orgasm, right? It's like, all right, job well done, right? That's exciting for me. Yeah.
For showing off, this is what I like. Because I've gone to the sex club a couple of times or swinger parties or whatever. What I like is that I like watching the look in the other girl's eyes, or like when they're like telling their guy, like, "Hey, look at them." Like I like that shit. I like watching the flash in that girl's eyes of like, look what the fuck I could do to your fucking ass. You know what I mean? Like I love that. I love that idea of it is very performance oriented,
Well, they do call it a scene, right? It's a scene,
I guess. Have you done any of the BDSM parties, or really only the Citadel's most of the time is very BDSM oriented. It's not necessarily more sex party oriented.
Yeah, that is not a. So we went to a twist party, which is just
bronze party emails.
Bronze party, right? It's just a sex club. People are just having sex in there.
It's just swinging. Yeah,
it's just swinging.
Yeah. You can go there if you're single. If you're a single female, you can go.
You can.
I think if you're a single guy, they don't let you in.
They do now. They have Fridays.
It's like $300.
Some select single males can come, right? But normally it's couples and they're swinging. Yeah, but you don't see single women. Single women can get in for $10, but that doesn't actually happen very often, right? There's a few good girls coming in there, but not often.
Right.
But yeah, the Citadel is very... And we went to the Catalyst recently, which is also Society of Janus.
Right. The Catalyst had something at it? Really?
Not Santa Cruz. In San Francisco.
There was a thing in the Catalyst. Okay. All right. So I didn't know there was a Catalyst in San Francisco. Very interesting. Did it seem like a music venue?
It's
like
just a dungeon. It's just a dungeon, just full of BDSM.
I feel like in Oregon or Las Vegas, you can go to like the airport and they have gambling, kiosks and things like that. That's what we need to create, a city where you can go to 7-Eleven and all of a sudden, there's a dungeon over there. Okay, let me let me just pop in and
a flogger,
get some squirt on my fingers and head out. Head to work. My morning squirt. So it's the sensation for you, but it's also the emotional. Do you feel when it is like? Do you play with other men at the parties?
After in the hotel room.
Okay. So at the actual party, might fool around with the girl a little bit,
right? And
mostly with him, but mostly it's like bait in the water for other people to join you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. So usually it's a good place to meet people who are into the same thing. I think there's a lot of good networking. If you want to get a lady to come home with you, you're not going to get on FetLife and send her messages. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to meet her at a munch or meet her at an event or at a party or and then my experience is if they see him with me and how he is with me, there's an appeal to that they will be like, I want to join in, and because I'm safe, then they'll feel safe.
Although there are serial killer couples over
There
the years.
are, yes.
I can't wait, dude. I can't wait to find me a serial killer girl. And we just, not literally, but kind of. You know, I want a beast. You know, I want a demon. You know,
A lot of guys message me on FET looking for a double dominant couple, a couple to dominate them.
Okay.
And I'm always like, I'm not your girl.
Right.
It's just not. I don't.
Right.
It would be silly.
Right. I've heard. I've only done one threesome, and it seemed true for mine. But what you want to do in the threesome, I've been told by, God bless him, Patrice O'Neill, was you fuck the one who's a little less interested, or the one who's a little skittish, or not skittish, but a little hesitant, and you let the good girl be the pivot girl. You know what I mean? Like where she can, find, oh, you know what, that ball hasn't been sucked in a little bit. Let me get, find where she fits in. Where do you feel like you fit in those scenarios? Do you feel like when it comes to another female and you and your
wherever he wants me, that's where I fit in. Wherever he wants me.
Do you ever play with females who are a little like, oh, I don't know, or does that bother you way too much? Do you like submissive females, or?
So when we're together as a couple playing with somebody else, it's really for him. Like, my excitement is for him. Like, this is super cool to share with him.
But you do like girls.
I do like girls, but I think I really like butch women. So if I'm gonna go out with the chick, it's gonna be someone who. I mean, I love the boy haircuts and the dress like a dude,
the Eminem female.
I love that. God, it's hot. I don't know what it is. I'm like, oh. And I will be like, I bet she's good with a strap on. I could just tell from here, right? So I don't want to, a lipstick, whatever. Don't get me wrong. I admire beauty in a woman.
Right.
I mean, I can really appreciate. And
who
doesn't love titties? I mean,
right.
Titties
That
are
gets
beautiful.
Confused with bisexuality sometimes. I think some girls think they're bisexual.
Yeah.
And they'll kiss a girl in a club to make the guy interested. Yeah. But when it comes down to the actual act, they're like, a vagina? Oh, nothing.
Oh, yeah. I got no problem with that. But
right. Anyway, continue.
So it's really it's different. If it was just me out in the world hooking up with a girl,
you'd be the pivot girl. You wouldn't be the hesitant one. You'd be you just get in where you fit in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Aye, Captain. Here we go. Okay, interesting. When you
and he just calls the shots. I mean, he's just like, okay, I want you here, I want you there, I want you, and that's pretty much what we set up from out of the gate.
Right.
It's it'll be another sub.
Right.
So,
have you played with a girl or a couple that on a consistent basis where you're like, oh, we like her, or oh, we like them, let's do that again?
There was one couple, that it was twice, but nobody that's been, no. Most of it, I'm really grateful I have him because I'm like, you're what I want.
Right.
So anybody else added into that is just, enjoyment, and it's
about that.
It's an adventure, and it's about him, and it's about
pleasing
him, and it's about getting to do some fun stuff and playing with other people, and sex feels good, so why not? And
right.
But it's not. There hasn't been anybody I'm like, I really want to sleep with that person again. Ever. No.
Do you feel like that's just
other than him?
Right. Do you feel like that's just because of a lack of performance, or maybe a lack of emotional investment because they're invested in their partner, or because I think that is a fulcrum. Like that is, it depends on the, like I've had times where, like when you're getting ready to fuck somebody and it's going to be the only time you have with them, like I want to do my best. But I also, especially if I'm not that interested physically, or if I know I'm gonna be moving or something like that, where like I give it everything I can in that moment, but I don't necessarily emotionally connect. There's you can
one foot out the door.
Feel that, right? You can feel that, and sometimes that's sexy to some people too. Whatever.
No,
But do you feel like it's a part of that, or do you feel like it's...
there's certainly a part of that.
Sure.
You know, I mean, but I think it's mostly because it's subs and I'm not interested. That just does the appeal for me. I was actually thinking about it this morning, you know, like it's just, I get messages, you know, on FetLife, people wanting to join us or whatever. And I don't know. I don't like talking to subs even. They're, you know, it's just boring. There's no, I can tell when someone's actually a dom and they're saying they're a switch and they're full of shit because their energy around me is different. I get excited, right? So I just don't have those experiences. We don't ever play with other doms. I don't.
Right. Yeah, there's something. Do you find, okay, this is something I've been thinking about recently. I don't know if it's me and my perspective that's changed. I don't know if it's the fact that I'm moving, and so I'm kind of less invested in finding a mate or things like that. But do you find that there's a woman that there's less? I just keep running into this thing, and I always have, sure, but I feel like I'm running into it more, where it's almost like I was texting with a girl the other day, and she was like, man, I really like your confidence. You know what I mean? Like, that's whatever. But some girls, and don't get me wrong, you have whatever works for you, whatever works for you. But I feel like there are a lot of girls who like want it in thought, but not in practice. Like there are girls who are skittish and like feel like I'm going to hurt them or I'm going to use them. I am going to do both, but in a fun way, you know? But do you feel like there are women that you run into who are more, like, I don't know, maybe not in the sex realm, not in the bedroom, but out in the other parts of your life where women are less adventurous, or they're less trusting, or they're less than they have been? Is it just me? I don't know.
No, I know a lot of women who are absolutely not open, not trusting, not interested. I know a lot of women who are kind of asexual.
Right.
Just not interested. I can't imagine that. I mean, but that's where they're at. You know, okay.
Yeah. But
they might like a little attention.
Right.
But then outside of that, the idea scares them. They can't let go. They can't let someone else be in control. I love that.
But that's what bothers me the most about you girls, is that, like, it's what you want. Like, why are you running from what you want? Like, why I don't understand why girls in general like have that thing where it's just like, and maybe this is just my frustration about some of the interactions I've had recently, but I feel like, why do you run from what you actually want? Like, I want what I want, and if someone offers it to me or someone has it right there in front of me, yeah, it takes some risk to go for it, but I'm not going to run away from it.
Right.
You know what I might be successful, so I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I think
what
it's
the fuck
just
is that?
fear. I mean, women are really vulnerable. We're really vulnerable with men. Right? I mean, we just are, and we know it. And so who knows what their experiences have been.
Right.
You don't know. Like crappy men who have taken advantage of any position of power.
And that's probably part of the reason why you guys have success with females. I mean, it makes sense. Okay, this guy, they see you with him, and they're like, oh, he's probably not a serial killer. Like, he's probably not going to rape me because, you know, unless it's consensual. You know, because she's with him. You know what I mean? There's added, you know, and I get that.
There's some validity to.
There's some validity. But it gets a little fucking frustrating having to bring my fucking resume with me everywhere. It gets a little frustrating having to, like, I'll literally give you Yelp reviews of my dick. Like, here, I'm providing, and it just feels like recently, and I could be wrong, but it feels like recently, and maybe this is because of the messages being put out there. Maybe this is because of my own needing to mentally, you know, step back from being emotionally invested in women. But I just don't. there seems to be this more of a wall than there used to be when it comes to that sort of thing. Where like with older women, there's always been that I'm refreshing, or that the sex that I provide is refreshing, or the energy that I have.
But don't you think older women are less fearful because they've experienced more,
Yeah.
so they're not.
And they're less interested. I think sex turns on. Not that, a 20-year-old can't come, but like sex turns on more.
35.
Yeah.
Oi.
Right. When they're 19, the power is more sexy. Is more like the power or the desire that they feel is almost more what they get out of it than the sex. You know what I mean? Than the coming. You know what I mean? They feel like. Were you ever in that position when you were young, where you felt like, I just like being desired more than, you know what I mean? Or I like feeling the security or the power in somebody wanting me more than actually following through with whatever it is.
No, I don't. That's not sticking with me.
Okay.
I'm not resonating with that.
Because you were always a little perv.
I was. Maybe worse so then.
Really?
Something.
Because you're going to
Good.
sex clubs
No.
and shit. Oh, God bless. Do you use toys?
No.
Okay.
I mean, wait, what kind of toys are we talking? Do I use vibrators?
Sure.
No.
Okay. Do you what?
I mean, we have bags full of toys.
Right. But mostly it's
Impact toys and restraints and
Okay.
leashes and,
So leashes. See, that's the thing too. Leashes are only really a public outing type of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Although, does he ever put a collar on you when you're like just making breakfast or something? Or?
I do have a collar. I mean, I have a collar that's like a jewelry collar.
Okay.
That would be less obvious unless you're kind of in the community, then you would recognize it. Probably
it's not
as
that leather band with a clip right here.
It is not. I have one of those, which is more the going out one.
The utility
Yes.
collar. Right.
That's
show
the
collar.
one we would use. Actually, I
Street
have three
fair.
collars.
Have you guys
right.
gone to a fair?
Yes.
Okay, which one?
Folsom.
Okay. Now that one's so much more. It's too many fucking people. You know what I mean?
So he marched me down the street, tied me to every pole there was, and beat my ass in front of everybody. I mean, over and over and over again. I could hardly sit for like 24, 48 hours after. I was wrecked.
When that's happening, by the way, is there any piece of you that's protesting?
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm having
Okay.
to fight the pieces that are protesting.
Okay.
I mean, really, to submission is it's an action, right?
Okay.
It's not just letting go. It's like
Right.
forcing myself to let go.
Always?
Often.
Do you feel like it's because of that emotional thing we were just talking about a second ago of letting go of security, or is it also a pride thing?
Well, I think the pain has something to do with it. I think there's some like
Touche.
I know what he's
Because
capable
knowing you,
of.
I don't think that there's like a pride thing in it for you. Because your pride thing comes from look at how good of a girl I am.
Yeah.
So
no, it's knowing, especially in public, what he's capable of, and I have to really trust him. I have to really trust him to hear him, because two things. One, it's difficult for me to say like red light, I am done. I can't take another second.
have you ever had to?
I have, absolutely. I mean, the last time at the Catalyst, I was dropped to my knees shaking. It was gnarly.
God, it's hot.
I was just, my whole body was shaking. It was so funny because there was a dom working a girl over next to us, and she was like, is that your dom? I go, yeah. She goes, damn, I want to play with you. And I was like, yeah, I can take some pain. But I mean, I literally, there was one thing that he did. I said, if you do one more thing, I'm done. This is it. I literally.
Spanking.
Oh, no.
You don't want to necessarily say.
Oh, he has so many impact toys. He has
Right.
these little like pain sticks, evil sticks.
Oh,
those
the
things.
evil sticks are
Oh
my favorite.
My
Oh.
gosh. Oh my gosh. But he was using these metal clamps on me.
Okay.
And it was weird.
Just nipples or?
No, all over. So we had them on my inner thighs, on my
Mm-hmm.
sides. And then he put them on my tattoo, which is kind of my pelvic area. And it hurt so bad. I couldn't even, it was crazy.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because there's scar tissue there or what. I
Right.
was, ooh, that hurt so bad. And I left with, tons of marks.
Sure.
He's made me bleed. I've
Right.
been like, welts and bruises and,
Now, how soon after it stops, what is the feeling that you have? Is that where the good rushes in, or is it just an umbrella of?
Oh, the good is all throughout.
Okay.
All throughout.
So even though you're fighting yourself because you're feeling this like, fuck, just a little bit longer, a little
What's it
fucking
gonna do
Navy
now?
SEAL.
What's it gonna do now?
Right,
And
right,
I
right.
can't see, and I'm trying to hear. So I'm certainly heightened alert, right?
Right.
I'm often, in a position where I can't see what's coming.
Right.
And he changes it up constantly,
Yes.
or he's hitting the same spot over and over and over and over and over again, trying to, with different things. And each impact toy has a different flavor of pain. And so there's an adrenaline rush that's insane.
Right.
It's so great. And then after there's a sense of pride in how much I can take.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's weird because I'll submit, and then there's a place of like, you can't break me, motherfucker.
Okay.
So I get to a place of, yeah, go ahead, keep hitting me, go ahead, I got this. What else you got? So I can roll into this place of defiance. My eyes change. He said, he sees the difference in my eyes, and then afterwards, there's a sense of pride in what I can take. There's
Right.
a sense of pride in like, yep.
Right.
Yep. And then afterwards, I love the marks. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, look how well he loves me.
Right.
It's so
Right.
sick. It's
Right.
something
It's
so
no,
wrong.
it is.
It's beautiful.
Now, how much longer you got?
Half an hour.
Half hour. So when you're talking about the marks, and then when you get in the car on the way home, is there endorphin thing afterwards? Like, is there just like a?
It's usually my body is shaking, and there's a heightened awareness of I'm sitting on my ass right now, and my ass is very tingly. Like
Right.
there are things happening, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what just? And I don't usually know what it looks like at that point either.
Right.
But I mean, I have scars. I some of the stuff doesn't go away, and I love it. I
So you
I
like the
love-
scars that you've gotten from sex play?
Yeah. I'm like, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Badge
And I
of honor type
remember
of
it.
shit.
Badge of honor, and I remember it. It takes me right back to that night and what we were doing and who was there, who witnessed it. Yeah.
Is there a show-off piece for you, like similar to the one I was talking about with me?
It's interesting because I hate people to look at me in
Right.
general. I have in general, don't want anybody to see
Public
me.
speaking or
Yeah, I just want to be
whatever.
under the radar. I don't want anybody to notice me. I don't want to be looked at.
But a piece of the performance
there's-
can't be just him.
Yeah,
Is it a piece
no,
of it
there's
for
a
you?
pride in also letting people see how much I can take and how amazing he is.
Okay.
Like, I'm
Look at my
proud of
man.
that.
Right.
Look at him.
Right.
Like, he's so good at this.
When a girl says, "Oh, I want to play with you guys," you're like, "You goddamn right, bitch."
And there was somebody. We're at the Blackthorn, which is my favorite
What's that?
venue. Oh my gosh,
I've never
it
heard of
is
this.
it's this old house in Oakland, and it's a dungeon. No, I know how much you love the East Bay, but I'm telling you, it is so freaking awesome.
Okay.
Each room has its own little torture devices, and it's a small venue, so usually there's 25 people in there. It sells out pretty fast, and you see all kinds of awesome things. I mean, they have a dentist chair, which is so hot for me. I have like a weird dentist fetish. There's a medical table. There's a scale when you get on it. It's 50 pounds heavier. It's just like, that's a worse form of torture. But there's a sex chair and a bed and, yeah.
Nice.
What are those crosses? What are they called?
Did you use the dentist? Yeah, I know.
No, I didn't
use them.
No, he pinned me to this bench thing, and it wasn't how it was supposed to be used, but he's very creative. So I could see the person that we were going to be playing with later watching him work me over. And there were other people in the room, watching, and I could see them watching.
Right.
And so there was certainly an excitement to that just elevated it. Right. It was like, and they were, you could see they're impressed. They're like, fuck. Fuck. Like, go ahead over there, play with your nipple clamps.
Right. Yeah, I went to the sex party with this girl, and I don't know if I talked about this, but we were just, even before we got into the sex part, because there's a separate room at Twist, but we were just, or was it Twist, or was it, what's that one over on in North Beach?
I don't know San Francisco areas. I just let him drive me.
Right. But there's we were up there, and even when we're all in the mingling area where like people are getting drinks, dancing, and chatting, and at most you'll get maybe a little bit of like heavy petting, but that's it. Even in that area,
they're still wearing clothes.
Yeah, you're still wearing clothes. Just playing with her and watching the looks, even just like, and then some guy came up to us afterwards. He was like, "Yeah, I saw what you were doing there. I see with the way you are with your girl. It's very, blah blah blah." I choked his girl for a little bit, but it's I like it a lot, but it also has the tendency. I feel like there's definitely some high school to it as well. Like, have you run into pieces of the sex parties and stuff that you go to where there's a weird hierarchy or a jealousy thing, or even as far as jealousy goes, is there any piece of you when that girl leaned over and was like, I want to play with you guys? Is a piece of you like, yeah, but don't get any fucking ideas?
What's weird? For some reason, the sex stuff doesn't invite any like jealousy for me. I'm definitely possessive, but that stuff doesn't create jealousy. Other things create jealousy for me.
Okay.
So.
Like what?
If I feel so.
You're anonymous. Don't worry.
Right. Recently, I felt like he was rescuing some other woman, and I was like, no.
But
and
in
so
the sex party setting?
No.
Just emotionally.
Just emotionally. Oh. So that's, to me, that's where the threat is. The threat is not sexually. He can have sex with whoever he wants. The threat is in the emotional connection. So if he cares enough about another woman to go try to rescue her, I want to rip her fucking throat out.
Nice.
So...
that's hot.
So, yeah. So that's and I've seen that come up with him a couple times. I'm also pretty possessive and territorial. Right. Like, this is mine and he is mine, and but it's not in a sexual. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that seems to be a common thread. Not everyone or whatever, but that seems to be like, where like if I'm in a threesome, fucking another girl, that's fine, but like if we start making out, that's like there's almost like that's more intimate, or you're fine maybe with him fucking somebody else, but like texting on a regular basis with another girl, that's a whole nother like.
Yeah, right. The emotional.
Did you just seize up in your stomach when I said that?
No.
Like, he better not be. Right.
No, I don't ever look at his phone. I don't want to know.
You can't.
No,
you fucking
I'm super
can't.
Avoidant when it comes to that stuff.
Right.
If I don't see it, it's not happening, and I'm fine.
Right.
As soon as I see it, I'm wrecked. So I'm not gonna look for that stuff ever. That will just hurt.
How in this world of texting these days, I've only been in a couple of serious relationships the last few years, but how do we do this? How do we incorporate, because cheating, number one, used to be a lot easier, and number two, or maybe it's easier now with that, but how do we do this now? How do we, because like I'm on my phone a lot doing texting and taking care of some business stuff, but also a lot on social media, posting and editing videos and emailing about this workshop, blah, 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 blah. How do we we need to, I don't know, for me, yes, if it doesn't exist, then I don't have a problem with it. But as a dude, and maybe this is his experience too, and I'll talk about it with him on the podcast. Hopefully he's coming on soon. But it's almost like the world that we don't see is worse. The situation that we don't see is worse, because in my head, I can imagine it to be way worse than it is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does he look at your phone?
Not that I know of. But he has my code. I mean, he could look at it at any time.
Right. Does it feel like, I mean, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
because everything is, because we can see everything.
We're still figuring this out, I think. Right. It's not like the normal.
Well, I'm not on social media.
Right.
So
that helps.
Other than FetLife.
Right. We won't give out your name, don't worry. LinkedIn.
To totally oppose. My pictures are very different for both.
Yeah, they're probably similar. They're probably similar. Here's my resume. Right. Here's what I'm interested in.
Exactly.
Here's my experience. Right.
They're both sort of resumes, I guess. You're right.
Yes, they are. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of those motherfuckers who are looking at LinkedIn are like, I wonder what she's like with nipple clamps on her. What kind of nipple clamps do you like?
You know, I'm not, like, nipple play doesn't do that.
It doesn't?
Much for me.
Okay. So it's more the impact stuff? Mm-hmm. That evil stick. I mean, as evil as it is, does it feel good? Because that was the... Yeah. I went with a girlfriend to Dory Alley, which I recommend you guys going to. Because FetLife is so much more...
Right? Is it more gay?
Yeah, it's more gay, but because that makes it more boutique. You know what I mean? There's straight couples there, but that makes it more boutique.
But is it more
where you're
gay
like,
than Folsom? Because Folsom's super gay.
Folsom's super gay, but Dory Alley is almost all gay, but there's a bunch of like women. And so because there's women there and because there's couples, it's more safe. Gay. It's smaller. Yeah. It's easier to get in and out. You don't feel like this is like, because Pride is that same thing where like it used to be kind of cool, but now it's just a place for hayward teenagers to come get high in public.
No, at Folsom, I saw some people from work. And I was not wearing pants, right? And a collar, right?
How did that go?
I did not. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Peter. And I like went in the opposite direction. No, I wasn't trying to say hi.
Do you think they saw you? Has anyone
No.
intimated that they
I
might
have a feeling he's the kind of guy who would definitely say something to me if he had seen me there.
Right.
Yeah. He's a fun guy.
He's dorks, though. I don't want to...
No, this guy's not an engineer.
Okay.
He's a fun guy. He's from Australia. I think he would be. Yeah. He's not a Bay Area.
He's fun and he's racist. Heard Australians are racist as fuck, apparently. Yeah. Anyway, email me at conservatishpodcast@gmail.com. But this is...
So Dory Alley, Pain Stick. You were telling me about...
Yeah, so I went with this girlfriend and we were looking at toys to buy because it is a great place to buy boutique toys. More expensive, but handmade evil stick with leather, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. As much as that's annoying, it is true. You can't go to any old sex shop and buy a vibrator. This shit's gonna die fucking fast. It's got shit 2 speeds. Like you spend money where it's necessary. You know, good toilet paper.
Yes.
And good
sheets, good shoes.
Yep.
Good impact toys.
Good input. Yeah, good impact toys. But yeah, I watched as we were trying these different things. I think it was like 22 at the time, 23. And I tried this, you pull it back and you right on her arm. Just to feel it out. Yeah. And just watching the flush on her face, I was like, I'm going to take you into a fucking alley right now, bitch. Don't you fucking... No, I took her home right away. We fucked. Because I just stand there. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to you. Yeah. And you know what? And I might just have you stand there while I go in the other room and make myself a sandwich. And like, you're just going to stand there. You're just going to kneel there on the bed with your ass up in the air until I'm fucking ready. You know what I mean? Like, I love, but that evil stick, That's a badass little toy, dude. Because it's
It's tiny. It looks like nothing.
Very specific.
What-
It's very
what-
specific. I don't even want to call it an impact toy because impact feels like this thud. That's
Right.
not a thud.
Oh.
That's a fucking bullet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that fucking thing.
This girl that we played with, she was cute. She said, I really thought I had a better pain threshold than this, pain tolerance than this. And I was like, oh no, these toys are this is no joke.
They do not
Like,
fuck
these-
around.
And then he busts out the not a taser, the
Oh yeah. The
what do you call
little
it?
zappy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can't stand the sound of it. It makes me insane. I can't. I'm like, no.
That makes him want to do it more, right?
No, I can't.
But then,
no.
okay, but when he does it, do you fight through that? Is that a hard one to fight through?
So
Because that for me, that would make me want to do it more. That would just make me want to
I know,
like.
it does.
Let's
It
see how
definitely
good a girl you are.
It
yeah.
definitely makes him want to do it more. And with this girl in particular, because he knows I hate it, I don't want it,
Right.
and she didn't like it either.
Right.
And he goes, well, if you don't take it, she's going to have to. And she looked at me with this panic, and I was like, no, I will. It's okay. And then I was like,
Ah.
So he was using my compassion for her against me.
Well, that's the
Fucker.
thing too. Is that it. You know, with play parties especially, or swingers parties especially, you kind of keep it rudimentary. You can't just haul off and smack a bitch in the face
No.
at the swingers party.
Right.
You have
No.
to kind of you have to enjoy the fact that there's other vagina and dick
Right.
involved, and that's kind of
And this was
you're
the
doing.
hotel room, and she was signed up for
There
Impact
we go.
Play.
Okay.
We had already met for dinner and kind of gone over what everybody wants to do, and then we went to the Citadel and watched for a while, and then we went back to the hotel and played.
Okay.
It was a good night.
Now, in that dinner, does that ever get into personal stuff about like what do you do for work? And
Well,
blah, 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 blah?
that's actually, it's funny
Because I guess you kind of have to. Yeah?
well, you don't have to, and he doesn't like to.
Right.
So he was like, I don't want to know about her personal stuff. She started
Right.
talking about whatever her job and her parents and she was young. So there was like
How young was she?
24. And, he's like, I don't want to know that. Younger than his daughter, right? So, or one of his daughters. Yeah, whatever. So
I gotta,
anyways,
by the way, let's fucking be real. As much as you girls want to say, that's disgusting, go fuck yourself. If she's 18, I'm fucking her. I have no fucking problem with that. I mean, I'm only 32, but still.
right. No,
I feel creepy even at 32. Like, they're like asking certain girls out. I mean, I don't give a fuck, but like, I'm starting to feel like, oh, this is weird. I'm not, not that I would have much to do except for, because she's, girls play more games when they're younger, and it's more emotionally annoying. But anyway, continue. You're saying that you hung out and she started talking about her personal life.
And after, we always do the next morning, we go to breakfast and we do a check-in, like what was the best part? What didn't you like? What would you do differently next time? So
And all three of you sleep in a bed?
No. We put her in a lift and sent her back home. We're not. Yeah.
Oh, you guys just meet for breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's a lizard.
Hi, lizard.
So, and he said, I didn't want to know her stuff about her, like we're just here for sex. I'm not trying to be your friend.
Right.
So,
could you ever open into that? Because
I can.
I could handle a relationship with two females. It'd be annoying, but I could do
So,
it.
so here's my thing.
It'd be like whack-a-mole, though. It'd be much more like.
Oh my gosh.
Shut the no. Okay, and shut them. Okay.
I could only do it if it was so. If we could both have multiple relationships, I'd be okay with that.
Because there's security.
Yeah, because this doesn't work out, and then there's somebody else, right? It's less threatening, I think.
Okay. Then if there was just another
if
girl.
it's just sex, then that's one thing. But we're talking about other relationships.
What if they didn't? What if the third didn't live with you?
I like to think initially, as long as I'm the primary,
Right.
that I would be comfortable with that.
Right. But in actual practice, you feel
But
like.
in actual practice, I'd way rather it just be him having sex with people than him having intimate relationships with people.
Right.
Now, can that happen? Well, of course,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because sometimes you have sex with people, it's exciting, there's some emotional attachment that can happen, right?
You find out you
There's-
can
what do
do
they call
more
that?
stuff. I mean, yeah, you guys signed up for impact play, but at any point, you don't know what someone's threshold is. You don't know if,
Right.
like, you do the evil stick and suddenly the night's over. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that would suck ass if you know somebody regularly and oh, this girl really likes, squirting, or this girl really likes choking, or this. So you can try different things. It's like a smorgasbord. I mean, when I sit down to Thanksgiving dinner, I want everything. I don't want fucking, you know what I mean? Like, even when I
Sure.
binge eat, I don't want just pizza. You know what I mean? I want to just get real. Let's do it.
But see, I feel like with him, I have everything I need emotionally, everything. I mean, he's an excellent partner in
Right.
real life. In vanilla life, he's an
Right.
excellent partner.
Right.
So I don't need to explore the same person over and over again.
Because you have that itch scratched.
That itch is scratched. Now let's bring some strange in here.
But what if he wanted it?
If he wanted the same person over and over again, we've had that
Not just the same person over
a
again,
couple
but
times. But
what if, in order to keep that good in your life, you also, what if he wanted to have a regular kind of partner where you stayed primary and he only spent you only spent 2 nights a week together
that's fine with me as long as I get to do the same
with other people.
with other people.
Not just with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
No, a
right.
dude.
No, I know.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. So rather than the 3 of you get to do the same, the 3 of you together twice a week, 3 times a week. That wouldn't bother you as long as you could do that with other. Because at that point though, that's now emotionally disconnecting some for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because now you have a parachute.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Now you have
Parachute.
a
I
plan
love
B.
A parachute.
Okay,
right?
but you don't feel as emotionally rewarded with a parachute, don't you think? You don't feel like as I'm not trying to talk.
I feel like
I'm not trying to be his. He didn't ask me here to get you. I'm always invested in a man getting what he wants. But anyway, I'm not saying that doesn't, when you have a plan B, especially for you when you like this dude, having a plan B would kind of disconnect some, wouldn't it?
Probably. That's what I like about it. There's a little security, a little safety in that. My heart's a little more protected.
Okay,
I'm gonna be less
what do you not like
wounded
about
by
it?
his attachment to somebody else.
What do you not like about it? Is it as rewarding as what it would normally be? What it would be right now? It wouldn't be, right? Or would it?
If I had one foot out the door constantly,
Right.
I feel like I live a version of that anyway.
Sure.
I really try not to.
Right.
But I'm a run out the door kind of girl.
Right.
Like, I'm terrified I gotta go.
Right. What's your worst fear though?
It's interesting. I've been talking to a therapist about that. and the parachute thing came up because I was talking about when I feel threatened, there's some insecurity and I feel threatened, I feel like some other woman
Threatened
is
right.
nosing in on my territory and that's
Sure.
my man and
Right.
F you, whatever. There's a relief for me in pulling the cord and being like, okay, I'm done.
Right.
I'm out.
Is
right?
it punishing as well?
I would never, ever want to hurt him. Ever.
Right. But
I would.
yeah.
Yeah.
A piece of it is punishing because look what you could have gotten, but
Well, he already has me. He had me.
Right. Look what you could have kept.
Look what you
But
could have kept.
you fucked it
Maybe
up.
he
Blah, blah,
doesn't
blah,
want to
blah.
keep me.
But what the worst fear, I guess, would be, okay, if I didn't emotionally disconnect and we had a third partner regularly and I liked her and he liked her, but I stayed primary and I stayed the focus and blah, 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 blah. What if he suddenly started, the worst fear would be what? That he would start seeing her regularly and you would get edged out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time,
But that's, I mean, I feel like that can be true in any
sure,
scenario.
right?
Right? I mean, he can get close to a woman at work, he can get close to a woman in one of the groups we hang out at.
So then why would that be if it can happen in any situation?
Because it's more likely to happen when you're naked. I mean, for me,
if you were giving him everything he needed, I'm not saying that is something he wants or needs. I'm saying I'm just all hypothetical. If he said, I need this, and you were giving that to him, wouldn't that make you more cemented as primary? Wouldn't that make you more secure in reality? Maybe not fantasy-wise. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
He's never asked for it. I'm pretty,
right.
He's
good at asking for what he needs.
He's good at asking for what he wants. And
I'm having him on the fucking show. I'm gonna have him on the show. I was thinking instead of good girl, we could have bad man. I mean, he's welcome to not stay anonymous,
we know what
but
Pete wants. No.
Yeah, I don't know. What time is it?
It's 1:23.
All right. Well, I guess we should start wrapping up then. Is there anything you wanted to talk about? I think you texted a couple of. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about.
No, options. I think I was throwing.
Oh, what was one of the other options?
I don't know. I'm big on capital punishment.
Meaning?
So, Gavin Newsom just said no more capital punishment in California, and that was like the highlight of my friggin' year.
Right.
And it's interesting after watching the Ted Bundy tapes and having that reaction of like, there are some people who just...
They can't be fixed.
No. And there's some people that this law was made for, but the problem is we have the system's so broken that if you have money, you can get out of it. And if you don't have money, you can be killed and be innocent.
Right.
So...
I feel like even the unfixable ones, I still don't want to kill them. You know what I mean? Like, not that they're giving anything to society, because a lot of dudes in prison, they're making, license plates, and they're getting college degrees, and they're, talking to their family, and a lot of them get recovery in one way or another, and they, are able to, some of them even get out, some of them don't. A lot of guys are getting out recently. But even the ones who are just kind of broken, I still feel weird about killing them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I just don't. I don't feel like it would be right. You know what I mean?
Because
killing them is not a judgment. Is not me showing myself or other people who are wanting to kill. This is what. It's not a moral standpoint. Right. You know what I mean? Because we all know the law is the law. We all know what the consequences might be. Sitting in prison for the rest of your life is some awful shit, you know what I mean? Especially for the real bad ones. There's a difference between a gang murderer who should be in prison and someone who can't stop raping boys, you know what I mean? The one who's raping boys is not going to be in a prison where you get to do college stuff as much or as easily. He's not going to get computer classroom, you know what I mean? Like it's a totally different world for that motherfucker. And even then, even though it's a suck to the state, and even though it's possible that apparently the prison systems are making money off of blah, 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 I still feel like, okay, just sequester that motherfucker, keep him away from everybody else, because he can't handle it, whether he was born that way or he was bred that way or whatever. He can't be around people. Sequester that motherfucker, give him food, and try and see if there's a way to create something good there. But outside of that, I don't feel like killing him. I don't know. Right.
No, I agree. And it's cheaper to keep them alive.
Is it?
Than it is to actually put them to death, because they have to go through. If you're on death row, you have all of these appeals that you're allowed, which you should be allowed, obviously, which don't necessarily protect you, because we know we've killed innocent people. It's just terrifying to me. I'm glad I wasn't the executioner. I would feel awful.
Right.
So it's cheaper just to feed them and house them for the rest of their lives than it is to go through all of those appeals.
Yeah, touche. And it's not like I dislike the whole. I mean, that's why I even feel a little weird about thinking that abortion doctors are getting all this money. I hate that that Big Brother-esque type of intention being given, to a lot of these situations. Oh, people are making money. Maybe, but I mean, there's a reality. The reason why aliens don't probably exist, or Area 51 at least, is because not that many motherfuckers can keep that much a secret for very long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even keep my fucking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And not just because even people like you who don't want to be in the public eye, you would tell somebody, guess what? We had these aliens come in today, girl. Like somebody would blab.
Right.
And I feel like, even though, like, that's why cancer, the cancer cure is being kept from us. I don't really believe that, because they would sneak it to their uncle who got cancer. They would, you know what I mean? Like, that's not
I
a
actually
thing.
work in the cancer treatment field.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah,
it's fucking bullshit.
How much wasting is going on in that, by the way? A lot.
How much wasting?
Wasting of resources. Is it a lot of it is bloating of bureaucracy, or you feel like it's being used properly?
We don't get any government funding.
Right.
We do have to meet all of the FDA standards.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of, hoops, which keeps me employed. So yay.
Yeah.
Good. I want the FDA to try to keep me safe.
Right. I will say, just because we got to wrap up, but I will say I'm almost done with Game of Thrones. I watched, in the last 2 weeks, I went from episode 1 to I just finished season 8, episode 1. So I have to just say, even though I know I don't want to be the executioner either,
mm-hmm.
I kind of want to be the executioner. I feel like the only death that feels satisfying, and I not that I hate the bitch or whatever, the girl from Dawn who or Doran or whatever it is, who like poisoned, and then her 3 daughters, like Cersei kissed her, and then whatever. Only Cersei is giving me that good vibes. Like, she's the only one who's like understands torture. How could you kill so quickly? Dogs are gonna kill Raymond or whatever. The real piece of shit who you saw the episodes. Right?
Yes, but
okay.
I have watched them over the last 10 years or whatever,
okay.
Right? So I do not have this memorized.
Well, one
I
of them
just
was
did watch the season finale. So.
Right. Well, maybe we'll talk about it next time. A lot of motherfuckers. I'm disappointed.
It is.
Write your own fucking show.
Yeah, it is a lame season, though. I have to admit, I was not
impressed. But death by dogs is too quick. I am a very good torturer. Give me the job. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very imaginative. I am patient.
I think there's a calling there. There's really a torturer.
You know what I mean? Like, if justice needs to be served, I will do the serving. Like, I am happy to just, look them in the face and allow them to regret their decisions. Anyway.
Did you see the movie Long Shot?
No.
There is a scene in there. I mean, other than the fact that it's a rom-com.
Right,
so
Seth Rogen's a douchebag.
There's some funny stuff in there, but there's a scene where he finds out he's like this liberal journalist, and he finds out his best friend from childhood is actually not only a Christian, but he's a Republican. And he's like, I didn't know. And he's like, I'm a good man. I'm a good. And they have this whole fight where he finds out his best friend is the enemy, and he's like, but I'm not the enemy. It just reminded me of you and what you're always saying is, these are good people on both sides. Right. Different opinions. That's all.
Right. I will wrap up by saying every opinion that I have is correct. If you disagree with anything I say, you're a dumb doo-doo head. You don't have anything to promote, do you?
No.
Any last words?
Nope.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/conservatish. Support or subscribe to the channel. Like the video right now. Go down. Go to the little bell. Hit it. And there's a new episode every Monday and Thursday because I guess it's the only part of me that's a masochist. And I'll be playing every Saturday at Scopo Divino in San Francisco. Every Saturday between 7 and 10 p.m. I'll be playing covers and playing my disgusting, vulgar originals. And I'm going to have a big album release party August 17th, I believe, at Brick and Mortar. That may change, but put it in your calendars now, or I'll find you and I'll kill you.
Amen.
I know you are. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, good girl, for coming on the show for a third time.
Thanks for having me once again.
Yes. And we'll see you later. Bye.